Hi guys, welcome to Big Loz Official. A nice Christmassy welcome today. Today I want to talk about the events for the Britain's Strongest Man that's coming up in January 19th up in Sheffield. The events have been announced and I just wanted to quickly run through them, let you know who I think will be good at these events, and then maybe you guys will let me kind of have your ideas and your thoughts on who you think will do well on what. And strongman's, very much every strongman competition is different because events make a big difference. Obviously, people are good at different events. Britain's Strongest Man this year has got 5 events. Starting off with the log lift, the 150 kilo wooden log. Everyone's going to be looking at Graham Hicks as the favourite for this event. He is a fabulous log lifter, one of the absolute best in the world, particularly for log for max, but he's also very, very good for reps. But we have other good log lifters competing as well. Aaron Page has put up a 200 kilo log recently, made it look very comfortable. I've seen him in training, he's looking very good. Both Stoltman brothers are getting better and better at their pressing. I'm not too bad at pressing myself. I feel like my log's kind of getting back to kind of my best of about 2012 when I was hitting like 190 consistently in competitions. Unfortunately got a labrum tear and my kind of pressing went downhill, but I've kind of brought it back up to a decent level now. Hoping to hit a PB on the log. On this particular log, I've used it a few times. The world record is 8 reps. Graham's talking about beating that. My focus is to beat my PB, which is 6, so 7 is my target. And I think if I can hit a 7, I should score some big points. It's tougher than people think. It's only 60 seconds on the log, so to do more than kind of 8, you've got to be going some. You've got to be really good at almost kind of one motioning that log, and it's just not as easy as people think. Guys like Zadruna Saviska, he's the best on it. He's got 8 reps, but you've had guys like Robert Oberst who's done 7 on it, and other great lifters have only managed 6. So to do more than 8 will be impressive. Graham's definitely capable of it. I guess it's going to come down to whether he's going to be pushed to do more than that. But I am going to go out and say he's the guy to beat on the event. I'm going to be looking for, just being on his heels, trying to get 2nd or 3rd place, making sure I'm getting points for the overall. Next event is the Axial Deadlift. Now this is a really, really tough event. The bar doesn't flex at all. So unlike a normal kind of deadlift bar, you get a good nice flex in it. This one's very, very stiff and it's just a hard pull all the way through. It's a little bit lighter than they've used at the Giants Live shows before. The Giants Live World Tour Finals in Manchester, I think they were doing 360 or something like that, 340. I'm not 100% sure. I think they've set the weight for this show at 320. And again, it's hard to pick kind of a winner. There's so many good deadlifters. Mark Felix is still a fantastic deadlifter. It's an event you're going to have to look out for him on. My deadlift is coming back to a decent level. Back in 2014, my deadlift was really up there with the best in the world, and obviously suffered another injury. It seems to be a story of most events with me, but my deadlift's improving again. I had to kind of readdress my deadlift, look at form, look at what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong, and kind of change things. And by doing that, you almost have to take a few steps backwards, and now I'm sort of pushing on and hopefully getting towards PB territory again. I haven't actually used this bar before though, so I'm expecting it to be tough. I had a session Monday where I deadlifted with an axle plus bands on top to really make it as hard as possible. And it's kind of a humbling experience compared to a bar that flexes and it kind of comes up quite quickly. 300 kilos on an axle is tough. So 320 for reps is going to be hard. I reckon the top guys will still pull big numbers. I'm going to guess between 8 to 10 reps is going to be the winning numbers. But you're going to have a few guys really struggle to get many at all. Guys to look out for. We said Felix. Everyone knows Felix is a great deadlifter. Graham Hicks, his deadlift's also really looking strong at the moment. He just pulled 405 in a powerlifting comp, which is a lot tougher than doing it in a strongman comp. But the guy I think you really need to look out for on the deadlift is Adam Bishop. Adam's deadlifting, particularly for reps, is unbelievable. Almost like, Mark Felix back in his heyday. He's just amazing at reps, just seems to be able to keep going. And I think he's going to be very, very difficult to beat. I can't put a number on it, but I think, Bish will probably be the man to beat with maybe myself, Hicksy and Felix. Maybe a few others as well. The Stoltmans again. Tom Stoltman looking very good on his deadlifting. Luke as well. Who else is good deadlifting in this comp? There's so many good lifters. But those are the kind of main 5 guys I think you're going to be looking out for on the deadlift. Terry Hollands, if he can bring his deadlift back up to its best level, is a great deadlifter. Recently, his deadlift's been down. Obviously, with his body weight loss, he's not been pulling big numbers like he used to. I feel those first 2 events maybe will cost him a little bit. Although his fitness is looking good, and moving on to the more athletic events, I'm sure will be good. So we're moving on to the next event, which will be the frame carry. I'm personally disappointed that we're doing another frame carry with straps. It's a 400 kilo frame with straps, wooden frame. And you know, people say, "Oh, why are you disappointed?" Like, I've won the frame many times with and without straps. It's an event I'm good at. I move quickly, and I'm not too worried from a personal perspective on where I'll place. I believe I can win it. It's always been one of my best events. I'm just disappointed that we're not testing grip strength in strongman right now very often. And it does change it for some guys. I think guys with weaker grips will be quite happy that obviously there's straps. But, you know, frame carries, farmers walks, they're all about testing speed, testing hip and leg power, but also testing your grip strength. And I think we need to bring that back. You know, even if we drop the weight a little bit and make it more about a full body test rather than just strapping on to the bar and just lifting as much weight as possible. I like seeing people hold onto the bar, and, you know, people that their grip's not strong enough, it goes down. And, you know, like I said, I've won frame carries with and without straps before, but I just, from that personal perspective, I like seeing that grip tested. And for me, it's a shame that it's not going to be tested, but it is what it is. I think I still think I can win it. Other guys to look out for: Terry Hollands is very, very good on frame carries. Mark Felix. I think the frame possibly could be event. Some of the younger guys aren't quite as good as maybe the likes of the older boys, but it's going to be one of those interesting events. I think, to be honest, I think it's going to be like seconds between every. It's not going to be. It's only a one-way, kind of like a sprint. And if people are finishing it, I think it's going to be quite close in times. Anything, I guess, a good winning time is going to be around kind of 11 seconds, something like that. But we shall see on the day. It's an event I'm going to aim to win. You know, my aim to try and challenge to, you know, I guess Graham Hicks is like the favourite for this show looking at the events, but my goal is to be there or thereabouts on every event, and if he makes a mistake, I'm going to kind of be there to capitalise. And, you know, I think I'm good enough all round to just keep that pressure on. He is as well, but I know he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to win. Obviously, I think the fact that I've won before, it kind of takes that pressure off. I'm not kind of desperate to win. That doesn't mean I don't want to win. You know, I always fight hard to do my best. But I think he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to get that first kind of British title. I know, you know, I've been in that position before. It'll mean a lot to him if he does it, but there's so many good guys that are going to make it hard for him, and I'm going to be one of them. You know, I'm never going to just lay down and let someone win. It's going to be a fight, and the frame is an event I feel I can kind of claw some points back on, and make it interesting for the last 2 events. Moving on to the last 2 events. The loading event, very similar I think to last year's. They're doing some sacks and barrels, maybe a tyre as well. So 4 or 5 implements loaded as quickly as possible. It's a sprint, you know. By this stage of the comp, you're feeling tired, and you've just got to kind of pick yourself up and get on with it, get it done as quick as possible. Loading events are one of those things, if you kind of take a long time doing them, that fatigue kicks in and you feel worse and worse and worse. So my target will just be to get it done as quickly as possible, then you can die afterwards. You know, 40 seconds, hard work, get it done, and then go lie in the back and recover for the next event. The loading is probably the hardest event to predict. It's very easy to make a mistake. It's very easy for... The implements change each year, and you can sort of, one year you can do really, really well, one year you can make a little mistake, a little slip, and just something goes wrong and it can cost you big points. And again, it's going to be one of those events that I don't feel there'll be a huge amount of time between people. It's going to be, you know, between first to kind of maybe, you know, sometimes it can go down all the way. First to last place can be just a few seconds. So it's going to be whoever doesn't make a mistake, whoever, you know, is on form that day. You know, just a hand positioning on the keg, a slip on the sack, kind of trying to get it off the floor. These are all little things that can happen. So you need to, you know, by that stage of the comp where you're feeling tired, you need to really be focused, really fired up, but still concentrate and not let the adrenaline get the better of you. You know, everyone there is good at this type of event, and this is the one event, it's probably the hardest event to predict. But guys, right through, you know, the whole field could all possibly win that. Terry looked great at it last year. The Stoltman brothers are both fit, dynamic athletes. Myself and Hicks here are always quick, moving on the ground. Bish, he's a great athlete. Guys like Phil Roberts, he's good at loading events. Paul Smith, there's just so many guys that are quick across the floor, and it's going to be a very, very. It could be the event that decides the competition. Last event, obviously, is the Atlas Stones, and this always comes down to who is doing well in the show. If you watch some competitions with me, when I'm doing well in a show, I normally do well on the Atlas Stones because you're focused and you need to be concentrating. You're fighting for the win. When you're sort of out of contention of winning, you sort of just relax a bit. You think, all right, I'm not going to win this show. I'll just kind of get it done, and you don't give it 100%. My stones have improved a lot. I believe I'm capable of winning the stones. I've done good runs on this set before. I've done bad runs on it as well, and it's similar to the loading. It's one of those events that you can make mistakes on. It's not like a deadlift where you just get on with it and you're strong. I guess one of the charms of Strongman is there are events thrown in there that are easy to make mistakes on, and that's why you can never guarantee anything beforehand. You've got to perform on the day and make sure you're doing the absolute best you can. I've seen guys like Thor mess up on stones before, and he's unbelievable at them. It just takes a slip, a stone to go over the top of the barrel, silly mistakes, and it can cost you big time. So again, you're fatigued. One day shows, you get tighter and tighter as the day goes on, and you've just got to be focused and ready to rip those stones up as quick as possible. Keep your technique solid and put them on as quick as you can. Everyone's good at the stones. Everyone's capable of loading all the stones. It's just going to be about who's fighting for those podium positions, who's fighting for the positions to get to World's Strongest Man, and then you just tend to see the last few guys tend to always be the best on the stones. There's usually more tacky on the stones by the time you get to that position as well, because obviously if you're the first to go, the stones are a lot cleaner. So if you end up going kind of towards the end, they usually are a bit easier to stick to, and you find the first few stones particularly you can just throw up quite quickly. So you always want to be going into the Atlas Stones, going out in the last few pairs. But it's going to be a great show. You could potentially have a different winner of every single event. There is no clear heavy favourite this year. Like I've said in this video and previous videos, I do think with these set of events, Graham Hicks is probably the man to beat. But guys like Bish, he's looking great this year. He's had a great year. He's performed well in the last few shows he's done. His confidence is improving. It's increasing all the time, and he definitely looks like he's ready to step up. Dark horse, I've said before, Aaron Page. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. And you can never count out, the experience of someone like Terry. Terry, I kind of wrote him off last year, and he came third. He's got better gradually as the year's gone on. He did very well in a few of the events out in Dubai. I do feel his static strength is down a little bit. It just depends whether it's down enough for these guys to capitalise. And that's what it'll come down. I think if he can have a good performance on the deadlift and the log, he's going to be up there. If everyone's really firing on those events and he doesn't perform as well as he can, it could cost him big time. But the three athletic events he's going to be good at. Mark Felix, Mark again, I just think the log will cost him. There's a lot of good log lifters in this show, and his log isn't even as good as it used to be. He's had some injuries, but Mark can probably come last on the log and still challenge on the next four events. His deadlift's unbelievable, his frame's unbelievable, he's fast at loading, he's great at stones. He just sometimes makes silly mistakes. But Mark's still a great athlete. But with only 5 events, you can't really afford one bad one. Like I said, my focus will be to be there or thereabouts on every single event. Top 3, that's my focus, every event. Make sure nobody gets away from you on any particular event. And then just be in with a chance. When it comes down to the stones, if you're still in with a shot of winning, then I'm a dangerous man, and that's my focus. I believe I can win, but it's going to be a fantastic show. I think Bish and Hicks here that are really the top 2 guys to look out for, and myself included. But there's so many good guys this year. It really is a strong stacked lineup. If you haven't ever been to a live show, make sure you come and watch. The Britain's Strongest Man, now it's a big international show. I say that confidently. I'm not trying to big up these younger guys. They genuinely are unbelievable athletes, way better than I was at my first World's Strongest Man, but obviously the whole standard is higher now, so it's harder for them to get to that level. But we have so many good guys. And it's great having like still guys like myself and Terry and Felix still competing at this level, but with so many guys now kind of coming through, taking up different spots at World's Strongest Man, and as well as the podium, we've got the positions for World's Strongest Man to fight for. So normally the top 5 from Britons will get a shot at World's Strongest Man. So there's a lot to fight for. I'm very, very thankful that I've already got my spot at World's Strongest Man by winning one of the Giants Lives earlier this year. Because you wouldn't want to be just having that pressure on yourself just to get to Worlds, but I'm feeling good. My training's it was a little bit interrupted with my daughter getting ill, and we're in hospital, so I missed a couple of weeks of training just and eating really due to that. But I'm back in the gym now, training hard, and apart from pressing being down a little bit on what I'd like it to be right now, everything else is feeling good, and I've still got time to get the pressing back to its absolute best. And to be honest, when I say it's down, it's just I'm still hitting the numbers I need to hit. It's just feeling harder than I'd like it to feel. But pressing is one of those things for me. I need to keep training. Whereas squatting and deadlifting, I come a bit more naturally to me. You might find yourself, you guys have events where you just find some things a bit more easy naturally, some things you've got to work harder at. But by the 19th of January, I will be ready. Training hard all over Christmas, training on Christmas Day. There's no days off. We're working hard. Coming back for the 3rd British title. I will be giving it my all. I hope you guys can be there to support myself and the rest of the guys. We massively appreciate the support the support you guys give us. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel, guys. Comment down below who you think will win the different events and who you think is going to be challenging overall. And just make sure you come and support your favourites. Keep supporting Strongman, and I'll see you guys soon.